All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining our webinar today. My name is Jared Bolin, and I'm a technical account manager with Hushmail. And today we'll be going through a webinar on using our secure forms and electronic signatures to really help your practice go paperless, but also to be able to get the information you need from your clients during what is definitely a challenging time where you may not be able to meet with them face to face or have them come into the office. So there's a few distinct advantages to our secure forms. The first one is you can get the information you need securely as an encrypted email. It also saves a lot of hassle because rather than having to, send out a PDF that someone then downloads and fills out and then scans and sends back to you, they can do it all from the comfort of their home using their web browser without any extra equipment required. All right, I just got a question here about the audio. Can everyone hear me? Okay, perfect. I'm getting a bunch of yeses now. Great, thank you so much. All right, so getting right into it, what I'll do is we'll show you how to build a secure form using one of our existing templates. We'll also go through the process of creating a form from scratch and show you how quick and easy that is to maybe get your own existing intake forms or consent forms that you have created on our system really quickly and easily. So getting started, accessing the form builder is as easy as going to hushforms.com and signing in. You can also just go into your email inbox and you'll have a form builder link up here in the top corner. And the Hush Secure Forms, that is included with all of our healthcare plans. The number of form templates that you can create just really depends on the plan that you're currently on. If you do have any questions on that, by all means, just let us know and we can answer that. So I've already got a couple forms created here. So this is what I see when I sign in. Now, what I'll do is I'll show you how easy it is to create a form using an existing template that we have and some of the options for that. So I'll go to create a new form here. And in this case, I'm going to go over to our healthcare category here. And so we can see we've got a number of different templates available for behavioral health, some other healthcare fields as well. What I'm actually going to highlight right now is a smart form that we have, which is the PHQ-9 patient health questionnaire. If you're familiar with this, it's a self-assessment used for monitoring the severity of depression. And this one is actually a smart form that will calculate the score on this for you. So I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. We also have the general anxiety disorder 7, the GAD-7, available as a template as well. But we'll start our PHQ-9. So we just select the preview or use button here. And then we will see an example of the form. And then we can just select use this template, and that will add that to our collection. So we can see we've got a few fields we can edit here in the template. We can add in existing fields, and I'll show you how it works, sort of, building your own form, how to add in these fields in just a few moments. But when you're using an existing template, it's as simple as just loading the template up into your account by selecting use this template, and then you can just simply publish the form, and that will be live. Now, this one, because it is a standard self-assessment, this is one where the actual questions here can't be edited because we want to make sure that you're getting the most accurate information, that it is adhering to sort of the standard guidelines for this PHQ-9 screener. So right away, our form will be live at this form public web address URL. So we can change that web address using the change web address button over here. And we can customize this. So I'll just say Raymond Rogers PHQ-9. We'll apply and publish changes. And now anyone with this link will be able to navigate to it and this is essentially what they will see. So it matches exactly what you see in the form builder when you're building it. They can simply fill in their information here. So I'll just put in some sample information. So I'm just going to select some answers here just so we can get a result. I'll show you what that looks like when it calculates the score for you. So we'll go ahead and submit that. Once they submit the form, they'll see here that it's been submitted successfully. And then within our Hushmail account, so we can, from our form builder here, we can just select, go to Hushmail. We see that our PHQ-9 has arrived. And this is how it will arrive for you when someone fills out the form. So we get a nicely formatted email here with all the information, all of their responses. And because this is a smart form, it'll actually calculate the score for you based on the standard guidelines for that PHQ-9. So we can see here we've got our provisional diagnosis and our treatment recommendations as in line with the standard form. We can also quickly download a PDF of this. So this will arrive as a nicely formatted PDF here. One click to download, and then you can add this into your EHR or the patient's file very quickly and easily. The great thing with the smart forms like the PHQ-9 and the GAD-7 is because they're so easy to use. They're these standardized forms. They're a great way to monitor the progress of someone on an ongoing basis. So you can send this out, after every certain amount of time to one of your clients, so they can then fill this out. You can kind of track their progress using this form. And again, that's the real benefit to this calculating the score for you, is it saves you time from going through and calculating this here. Now, right now, we just have 2 of those smart form templates available, but it is definitely something that we want to build out in the future. So if there are any other open source self-assessments that you think would be really valuable, please let us know, and then we'll make sure to pass that feedback on to our team so we can look into adding those to the collection down the line. Now, that was the process of building a form from an existing template that we have. But what if you have your own, say, consent form that you want to create really quickly and easily in our form builder, so people can fill that out securely? It may not match up with one of the templates we've got, but you have your own sort of custom wording you want to use there. So for that, we can start from scratch with a blank form. So what I'll do now is in our form builder, I'll just select Create Form. I can select an empty form here just to start with a blank slate. And now we can start editing this. So I'm going to change the title of the form first of all. So we'll just put in our title, our informed consent. Our subtitle is just our name. And then now we can see we can add in our form controls using all of the different options we have over here on the left. So let's say we want to add in our standard fields for our patient's name, their phone number, their email address, and their date of birth. So we can simply select a short text field for name. We can set in an email field here for their email address, a date select for their date of birth, and then another short text field for their phone number. And then we can simply click on the fields we've added in to edit them. So we'll say name, we'll set this as required. Let's say we want to actually move our date of birth field up here. We can simply click and drag it, place it beside our name field, and then just resize it by clicking and dragging. So we'll change this to date of birth. We'll set that as required as well. We can customize the date format if there's a particular one we'd like to use. The email field here, so you notice we have a specific type of field for email addresses. That's because when someone fills in their email address here, we can actually have it so the form that you receive will show as being from the email address they put into the form here. So that's a really great way to be able to reply to someone with just one click once they submit the form. So we'll say email address. We won't set that one as required just in case, maybe they don't have one. And we can drag up our other short text field here for the phone number. So we'll just click to edit this. And we can apply that. So I've got my basic fields here for the client's information. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add a heading to this too, just to make it a little more clear here. So we can add in our heading for the client information. And now, because this is an informed consent, I want to have a paragraph here of text basically stating what they're agreeing to by filling out this form. So I'll click to add in our paragraph field here. We can click on this to edit it. And then what I'm going to do in my notes application here, I've just copied the text that I need. So if you're working from maybe an existing PDF that you have, you can just copy and paste from those forms directly into our form builder. So here I've got my sort of generic consent statement here. We'll add that in. And now what we have the option here of doing is adding in a signature field. The electronic signatures are available on our healthcare plans with 5 or more forms. So that's the $19.99 and up plans. They include the e-signature capability here. So we'll add in the signature field, and then I'll show you what that means for our form here in just a moment. But for right now, I want to keep customizing this with a bit more information. So you can see over here on the far right, we can add in our photo or our logo. We can add in our bio, our contact information. So let's go ahead and customize this even more. So I'm going to select my headshot that I've got here. We'll add in our photo. And now we can enter in our bio. So I'll just quickly enter this in. We can add in our telephone number. We can put in our work address here quickly. And then you can even add in your own social networks. So let's say we can add in our LinkedIn, our Facebook, Instagram, whatever social media you want here. You can also put in your website URL if you'd like up here. And then you can put in a bio, a brief description of yourself. So again, I've just got one copied in here, but copied into my notes. So I will just simply copy that. We'll paste that in here. And there we go. So now we can see this will give the client who's filling us out, for one, a little more information about you, because this may be their first interaction with you. So you can give them a little more information on your own background. And then you can also add in some important information. So this is really great, really great for things like emergency contact numbers or crisis lines. So we can add in information here. So you can say, in the event of an emergency, please call 911 or a local crisis line. So there's a few field types we haven't used here that I want to highlight. So on a lot of forms, for example, an intake form, you're going to have people maybe checking off a list of symptoms or health conditions that they have. So you can add in checkbox lists just by adding those in and clicking to edit those. You can add in file attachment fields if you'd like, for them to be able to upload maybe a picture of their insurance card or their information or their ID. You can also add in some advanced controls like a repeater. So with the repeater function, you can add in a set of fields that someone will have the option of filling in more than once. So this is really useful for something like maybe a list of medications that someone's currently taking, or maybe emergency contacts if they have more than one. So in the case that we wanted to do a list of medications that someone's currently taking on, say, an intake form, we can just put our heading above the repeater here. So we can say list of medications. You are currently taking. So we can add in a short text field for the name of that medication. We can add in one for the dosage, and then maybe a date select for when they started taking it. And again, just like before, we just click on the name of the fields to edit them. And with our repeater option here, we can actually set how many of the minimum rows we have, how many of the maximum rows. So you can maybe set this as 1 minimum, 10 maximum. Allow people to fill this in multiple times without needing to create the same set of fields multiple times, so it cleans up the appearance of your form. And also, it makes it easier for them to fill out too, because they can just add this in as many times as they need. Now, of course, this may not be relevant in the context of the informed consent that we're doing, so we can just go ahead and delete these extra fields here. And you'll notice up here at the top, we have our form settings menu. So in here, you'll be able to put in some additional information, such as a thank you page you want to direct someone to once they've completed your form. So if you have a page on your website you want to direct them to, you can put that in here. If you have another web form that you want to direct someone to once they complete the first form, you can actually paste the URL for that second form in here. So they'll be taken right to the new form once they click submit on this one. So it's a great way to have sort of a multi-page, or if there's a set of specific forms that someone needs to do in your intake process, you can enter that in here. Another great feature is we can customize the subject of the email that we receive. So in this case, we'll just call the email subject informed consent. The great thing about this is you can also pull in information from the form submission itself, just by using the percent signs here and then putting in the name of the field. So if we wanted this to come in as, say, informed consent Jared Bolin when I figure it out, I can just put the name field in here. So when I fill this out, it'll come through in your email account with informed consent and the name of the person. Now, we recommend not using this for any sort of PHI when you're pulling that information. I was using name just as an example here, but we recommend not using any PHI in that, because that will be visible in the subject line of the email in your account. We can set up an automatic response as well. So this will let someone know that we've received your message on this day or this time. We'll get back to you in X number of hours or days, whatever your own policy is there. And you can also set additional recipients. So if you have multiple email addresses under your Hushmail account that you want to receive a specific form, you can add them in here. So if this was, say, an intake form that you wanted the front desk to receive, as well as their therapist, you can add in both email addresses here. Now, these do have to be Hushmail email addresses because the forms arrive as encrypted emails. So you'll just need to add in a Hushmail address there so that they can receive it and open that form successfully. Now, because we've got a signature field in this form, when I go to publish this form, you'll notice here that our form's public web address will be deactivated. This is because since the form has a signature field, we want to make sure that this is a verifiable, authenticated signature that meets the requirements for an electronic signature. So rather than just having this up on a website where anyone could potentially fill it out, we're actually going to send this out as a signing request instead. This allows us to help verify that the correct person is actually filling out this form, that it's not someone filling it out on behalf of someone else. So we can send a signing request either by composing a new email from our form builder here. We can send out a signing request from our list of forms. Or if we just go into our webmail interface and compose a new email, we'll have the option to add in a form here. So we'll do the informed consent I just created. We'll select add form, and then we'll put in the email address of our recipient. So because this is an email with an electronic signature and a form attached, this will automatically go out as encrypted because we want them to read this and fill it out on our secure site. So we'll just put in a quick message body here. And we'll go ahead and we'll send this off. Now, what we can also do here is we can add in multiple forms to the same email. So say we wanted them to fill out a PHQ-9 in addition to their informed consent, we can absolutely add that in. What you can also do is, if you have multiple forms in an email, you can actually send this to multiple recipients and choose who completes each form. So this could be very useful in the case that maybe it's a client who is a minor and you need an informed consent from a parent. So you can send the consent form to the parent while still sending your intake form to your client, for example. In this case, though, we'll just send out the one. So I'll remove my other recipient here, and we can go ahead and send this off. So what I'll do now is I will just swing over to the test Gmail account of that recipient here, so we can see what this would look like for your clients when they're filling out the forms. So we can see the message has arrived. It's got our subject here, and just like any other encrypted email that they receive, they'll be able to just click on the read your secure email button to open this up. Now, I'm just going to do this in an incognito window here, just because I want to keep my current Hushmail session open. So again, just like a regular encrypted email, if they haven't received one before, it will just prompt them to choose their passphrase for reading that secure email. So we can see here, this is a brand new recipient, so I'm just being prompted to choose my passphrase. Now, if they've already set a passphrase, they'll just be prompted to enter in that same passphrase again. So if it's someone you've already communicated with, they'll just use that same passphrase they've been using before. So we can see we've got our message here, and our form will just load up directly below. So I can simply put in my information. And so now I see all of the bio and the photo information we've put in here. I read my consent statement, and then I can just click to sign when I'm ready. So the recipient can either type in their signature here. They can draw it in using their mouse or a touch screen, or they can upload an image if they already have one handy. So once we add in our signature, all we have to do is just check the box here stating that we do want this to represent our signature. This is something they just have to do the first time they sign a document. So we'll select use this signature. What we can also do is we can add multiple signature fields into the same email. It doesn't have to be just the one at the bottom. So if you have maybe multiple statements that someone needs to consent to, you can include multiple signature fields here for them to fill out. And on the additional signature fields, they can just click to use the signature that they've already drawn in once, so they don't need to do it multiple times. So since I've got all my required fields here filled in, I will go ahead and submit this now. So I'll see now that the form has been submitted successfully. I'll go back to Hushmail. And again, that informed consent form has arrived. We have the information they put in here. We have their signature. And down at the bottom, we have some form activity. So this is where we can see when the form was viewed, when they saved their signature and when they completed the form. So this is a bit of a useful audit log just for keeping track of the forms that have been signed. You can also see over here in our forms folder that we'll have a list of all of the forms with e-signatures that we've sent out, so we can check on the status of those, maybe follow up on any of the ones that are waiting. And if we were to accidentally delete a copy of the form, we can retrieve a new copy here from our forms folder. So you'll always have another record of those, even if you lose the original message in your inbox. And just like the PHQ-9, we've got a one-click download here for our PDF. And this gives us our nicely formatted form with the signature at the bottom. Now, there's a couple other things we can do with the forms that I'd like to touch on as well. So when we had a form without an electronic signature, like our PHQ-9, and we have our form public web address here. So not only can we just send people this link or link to it on our website, but that form can actually be embedded directly into your website. So in our form menu, we have an embed secure form option here. And this will give us a bit of code that we can put into our site, as long as our site supports it, that will load the form in directly on the page. So we can see we can just copy this in here, put that into a code block on our website. And we've got a sample site here from our partners at Brighter Vision. And this is an example of what one of those embedded forms looks like. So this is that same PHQ-9 that we were just looking at, but embedded directly into the web page, so someone can fill it out directly from here. So it takes on the look and feel of your site, makes it a really seamless process for someone filling this out from your website. So this is great for maybe an appointment request or a secure contact form, because this way you have the confidence that someone can put in their personal information directly through your website, and that will still arrive in your account as an encrypted email, because we definitely recognize that maybe in an appointment request, someone may put in a lot of details about what they're experiencing, what the issues they're facing are, and you want to make sure that information is protected, even though you may not have an existing relationship with them just yet. I also wanted to highlight that we have a couple blog posts that go into more detail on some advanced tips you can use to kind of take your form to the next level here. And we also have one with just some common tips and best practices that you can follow to make your forms as efficient as possible. So I'll be sending out a couple links to our blog in the follow-up email that will contain the recording as well. And right now, I'm just going to see if there are some questions here that we can answer. Okay, so one form here is there a size limit for a form? So this is a question we get a lot. There is no length on the, or there's no limit on the length of a form you create through our form builder. It can be as long as you like. I mean, for the sake of the person filling it out, it may be best to split it out into smaller forms if there's different sections in an intake packet that you have, but you can absolutely create these all as, it all is one form that someone will fill out and submit back to you. There's also currently no limit on the number of the signing requests that you can send out with your plan, if you have a plan with e-signatures. So you can send this out to multiple clients and have them fill that out securely without worrying about running into a sending limit there. Okay, another question here is, can patients submit a form with a signature without the need to send out that email signing request? So we are exploring some options for that in the future. But right now, because we want to make sure that it is a verifiable signature, the most efficient way for us to do that was by having it go out as a signing request to a known email address. However, we are looking into other options for the future. So maybe a form with an electronic signature can be embedded on a website, and then afterwards it'll send them a verification email just to verify their signature once they've completed the form. That is absolutely something that we are looking into as well. Another question we have here is about signing the form after the client signs. So right now, the best way to do that would be essentially downloading that PDF and then essentially signing a physical copy of that, or signing it on your desktop. Right now, we just support the single party signatures, so one person um, filling out the form. That is something we're looking to address in the future, though, in the next iteration of our electronic signatures, is the ability to have multiple signatures on the one form as well. All right, another question here is, do we need to have a Hushmail email address? Um, if if you were just wanting to use the secure forms, if you weren't using Hushmail as your primary email account, you can absolutely use one of our domain names for a Hushmail email address, like an @hushmail.com, @therapysecure.com, etc. So you don't need to be using Hushmail as your primary email. But because the forms do arrive as an encrypted email, you do need the Hushmail account to be able to access those, to read the encrypted forms, and then to download those, because we want to make sure that that information is secure. It's stored as encrypted on our secure servers. All right, another question here is, if you already have your own forms as a PDF that you want the client to sign. Um, the easiest way to do that is just to quickly recreate that in our form builder. We can also look into building the forms for you as an additional service we offer. That's something that our customer care team can help out. We can provide you with a quote for that. Right now, the forms do need to be built in our drag and drop form builder for someone to be able to sign them. But I can absolutely agree that an ability to maybe just import a PDF directly would be a great option for the future to save you time if you already have those existing forms. So that is absolutely something that we're going to look into for the future. And this is all really valuable feedback for us as well. Okay, I'm just looking through a few more of the questions here. Oh, a question here, is there a way to select the form from the Forms tab to resend it? So right now, so if we have our forms tab in our account here open, our forms folder, and we go to a waiting form. Right now, there isn't a way just to one-click resend it from here. The best thing to do would just be to follow up with a separate email to them reminding it. But I absolutely agree that an ability to resend from here would be a great next step for sure to help you follow up on those really quickly and easily. Okay, another question we've gotten here is, can you duplicate a form as a template and edit that for a variation of the initial form? So we can absolutely help with duplicating a form that you have in your account. So you can make a new copy of that with all the information there sort of pre-populated. So yeah, so if you had an existing template in your account and you just needed to have a separate version of that with a few tweaks, by all means, let our customer care team know. We can just copy that on our end for you. So you can then make a duplicate of that. Okay, another question here. Once a form is published, is there a way to edit it or would you have to start from scratch? You can absolutely edit the forms as you go, and those edits will take effect right away. So if we go in and we edit an existing form that we have here, so I'll just go into my Hushmail account, go to our form builder. By all means, you can go ahead and edit an existing form. So if we go to our PHQ9, let's say I wanted to just, rather than having first name and last name fields, I just wanted to combine it into one. I can just remove that one. We'll just change this field to name, and then we'll just resize that. And then so if I was to publish this form now, at our form URL, that change will take effect right away. That will essentially, so we can see here, we've just got our one name field rather than the first name and last name. So by all means, you can kind of keep iterating on these and changing them as necessary. We also have the option too, when you're editing a form, to just publish it as a draft. So you can save a draft, you can kind of see what that looks like. Using the drafts function, it's a great way to make small changes, preview them without having to actually change a live form. The great thing is too, with the forms embedded on your website, those will update live as well when you edit them in our form builder and publish. So there's no need to, contact your web designer or web developer anytime you need a small tweak to a form that's embedded on your site. You can make the change through our form builder, and that will push live to your site the next time someone loads it up. Another question here is, can you remove the important information and bio when you're creating a form? Absolutely. So the easiest thing is just, if you don't fill those in when you're creating a form, they won't be visible when someone is filling out that form. So we can see here on my PHQ9, I didn't have those filled out, and it just completely hides them. So by leaving those blank, they'll automatically be hidden. Another question we've gotten a lot lately is there an initials field? So right now, there isn't a separate field, but a great way you can go about that is just by adding in a signature field, changing the name here from signature to initials. So if it was just one section of a form you needed an initial on, and then one main signature at the bottom, you can use a signature field to just be an initial field. They'll still just click on that to sign it, or just type in their initials, just like before. All right, another question we've gotten here is, can a link be placed in the form that loads up a separate window? Yes, so if you're using a paragraph field here, you can insert a link in there. So we include this in our blog post on the advanced tips here, but just using a bit of HTML, we can go ahead and embed that link right into our form as we're editing it. So in my paragraph text field here, it was just an HTML tag with the URL we want to add in here. We apply, and now we've got a link to that right down at the bottom. So yeah, if you had your terms and conditions or something like that, or your privacy policy, by all means, you can edit that in so someone can just click on that link directly. All right, so that just about concludes the time we've got here for the webinar. For anyone who has more questions, and maybe we didn't get to, we'll be reviewing all of those here and getting back to you with more information. Feel free to, again, ask any questions. You can just reply back to the follow-up email that we'll send out as well with any additional questions. We'll include our contact information there. So we're more than happy to help you get these forms up and running off the ground. We hope you found this helpful as a bit of an introduction to the form building. Again, we'll include some more advanced resources here in those follow-up emails. And if you do have any questions, you can reach our customer care team at 1-877-533-4874, or by emailing pl hushmail.com. Thank you all so much for taking the time to join our webinar today. Again, a recording will be made available after the fact, and we look forward to hearing from you if you have any other questions. Thank you.